Hi, Lee Judges here. Just a little video to say what I think is going to happen to Everton this season. As you all probably know, or you don't know, that obviously I've got a soft spot for Everton for obvious reasons. But I thought they was a little bit fortunate, I'll be honest, last season to staying in the Premier League. At one stage, I didn't think it was going to happen. Richarlison was a very, very big part of that. And obviously you've sold him to them lot down the road. I don't know why he wanted to do that, but there you go. That's happened. I think really this season, I'm going to be honest, Calvert-Lewin has got to have a big, big season injury-free. If he does, then I think that you'll be okay. But I think if you're going to be looking to push up the league, more signings are going to be needed. And hopefully you will get a few more over the line. Frank Lampard, I'm going to be honest, guys, jury's still out for me. Didn't really do the business when he was at Derby, I don't think. Everton, come to Everton, I would say the same. Done okay at Chelsea, but I think he needs a real big season and needs to start off well. I was disappointed with the way Everton played against us on the last game of the season. I know that virtually he was survived and safe and everything like that, but it was a comfortable win for Arsenal. And, you know, I think comfortable wins against Everton is not a good thing. And listen, I think that Goodison Park will be, as always, a hard place to go and win. And I think that's where you've got to get your points from. If you can do that, then definitely it will be okay. I'm going to be honest, I don't see Everton having as poor a season as last season. I still think that they'll be okay. But I still think you need a few players. And as I say, if things don't happen with Calvert-Lewin getting injured or something like that, then I think that maybe I'll be wrong, but hopefully not. Dele Alli, I don't know what's happened there to that player. I just think he's just gone off completely off the rails as far as playing's concerned. If you could get him playing, then there could be a certain optimism. Is that the right word there for the season? But I think for me, Everton have got a couple of weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks left of the transfer window, and need to get in a few more players. So hopefully you can do that, guys, and have a good season. But I do feel that it's not going to be as successful season as I hope, or as long as you hope it's going to be. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tough season for you guys this season. But Gordon, that's a good thing. You've kept him. I think he's going to be a very good player. And I'm going to say, look, maybe a little bit biased, but I thought Iwobi done well towards the end of the season. So I think Frank Lampard's got to get some players going in the side. Hopefully make him a little bit better and maybe surprise a few people. But hopefully Everton do well. Let's hope that they can. And hopefully when we come down to Goodison, we don't play as bad as we did last time. But good luck for the season, guys. I hope it all goes well. Take care.
Hello, I'm Luke from Up the Villa podcast. So my thoughts on Everton going into the new Premier League season. I think it's going to be a difficult one, to be fair. I think he's still sort of in a bit of a transitional period managerial-wise. I'm not too sure whether Frank Lampard long-term is the right man for Everton Football Club. I know he kept you up last season, but it did feel, although you sort of scraped it a little bit with sort of Burnley being so bad as well. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting season. You've just lost Richarlison to Spurs. You know, Richarlison was a massive player for you last season. He scored so many goals and, you know, he's all a massive focal point for Everton as well. So I think losing Richarlison, his goals, his overall importance to the team, I think is going to be a massive blow. Calvert-Lewin, injury prone, not too sure whether he can sort of have a full season. I feel like at the minute maybe he's going to be missing at the start of the season as well for you guys. So I think it's just getting through this little bit of a transitional period. You're linked with Cornet. I think he might be a decent signing if he could come in. You've also signed Tarkowski, which was a good signing on a free. And you've also signed Dwight McNeil, and I think, you know, he had an absolute blockbuster goal on his debut, but his goals and assist return last season for Burnley were pretty woeful, really. So, yeah, I feel like Everton are going to finish in and around 12th to 15th this season. I can't see them getting anywhere near the top half. Sorry to sound a little bit brutal, but that's just the way I see it at the minute. You can maybe get a little bit more recruitment. The window is still open, so we're not sure on what the squad's going to look like come the end of the window. So this period of now, the couple of games and then the end of the window, it's always difficult to see where clubs are. But yeah, I feel like it'll be a bit of a transition, a bit of a difficult season. You should be safe from relegation, but I think you'll be in that sort of next bracket in that pack. Villa, I feel like we're going to have a real strong season. I think we've recruited really well. We've recruited in areas which we struggled with last season. Boubacar Kamara, one of the most sought-after central midfielders for his age, absolutely monster. Diego Carlos at the back as well, a monster signing for us. So it's primed to be a real good season. We're looking at in and around 8th, 7th at a push. We've got attacking quality, Danny Ings, Watkins, Buendia, Coutinho, Leon Bailey. The list goes on. We've got a really good squad, and hopefully Villa can have a really good season. So good luck, Everton, for this season, and hopefully you'll catch me on your channel soon.
Hi, Tom Jordan there from the Back of the Net podcast, AFC Bournemouth YouTube channel. Thoughts on Everton? Well, obviously you've lost a big player in Richarlison, and there's obviously some problems there. And yeah, Frank's got a lot of work to do, but Everton's still a big club. I still think you've got that home record. I think you'll get a lot of wins at home. Dwight McNeil, shrewd signing. Tarkowski as well, both from Burnley. Been there and done it in the Premier League, so I think that'll help. Very reliant on Calvert-Lewin, and equally that probably goes similar to ourselves at Bournemouth. We're going to be reliant on Dom Solanke. I think both teams will probably be scrapping nearer the bottom. I think Everton would certainly fancy their chances of staying up more than ourselves. I'm probably thinking more hope than judgment that Bournemouth will stay up at the moment. But if we're competing with Everton till the end and scrapping, I'll take that. But I don't think we'll be all right, even though I want to say so. I think Everton will just have enough, to be honest, a bit like last season. But it's a bit of a reset for them at the moment, but I think you'll do all right.
Hi, this is Billy here from the Besotted Brentford podcast. Thank you very much, Everton fans, for inviting me on to your podcast as well. And happy new season to you. I'm looking forward to this new season. Well, so much so that I'm not even back in the UK. I think this is the first time I'm going to be out of the country for the start of the season for probably about 20 odd years. But I just thought, tell you something, we stayed in the league this season, so I owe it to my family to have an extended holiday this year. So I'm chilling out here in Spain for a bit, but I'll be back for the Man United game next week. But talking about this season, so Everton. First of all, Everton, I'll be honest with you, I'm very happy that Everton have stayed in the league this season, because we, Brentford fans, love going up to Liverpool. We love going to Liverpool. We love going to Everton. I think it's a great city. We think it's some great people there. We've had some great laughs there. We had some great fun there last season. So, like I said to you, great that you're back in the league this season with us. So I'm looking forward to going up to Everton, looking forward to playing you as well. As to how Everton will do, I have to admit, I'm not quite sure, because it's really difficult. You've got the manager, Frank Lampard, which we know from the Championship days. He was the Derby County manager, came in as a very green manager then elevated himself to Chelsea, which to me I thought was the wrong move. I think he needed a stepping stone. And now he's at Everton. And he's got a job on his hands, as he is, because there's a lot of pressure, from people, from the owners as well. They're expecting him to do things, and can he be able to build things in the right type of way? I can't answer that question. However, the end that you had to last season, you survived, he survived, and that's fair play to him. And all you can do is you can go into next season with the players that you're going to buy, with the players hopefully that you're going to keep. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin is going to be out for 3 months from what I've heard, which is not a good look for you. But at least you've got a transfer window that you may be able to do something about it. But I think the problem that he may have as well, obviously, is the restrictions that you've got from your owners, from what I can understand, due to the atrocities that have happened in Ukraine. So that may kind of just curtail you a little bit as to what you can do. So I'm not trying to avoid the question here, but I don't actually really know how Everton would do with the players that you've got. And you've got some very good players there. You should do really well, but it just depends on how patient the fans are and the owner is. Last season, I think there was a lot of impatience going down as well. As Brentford fans, we're so used to being fairly average for so long in our whole career. There's a lot of patience going down. So if we don't play well for months or weeks or months, actually, we can handle it. But I know that different clubs are different, So I think with Everton, you need to kind of just be a little bit more patient with your manager and with your people, and then you'll do okay. As for Brentford, well, we're still here. you know, and we're very happy as well that we're going to be playing Fulham this season, because Fulham are our big rivals. You laugh saying, what's the big deal? But Brentford, Fulham's gone back for 20, 25, 30 years. It's a massive fixture for us. So we're delighted that we're going to be playing Fulham. As the song goes, bees up, Fulham down, bees up, Fulham down. So let's see how that goes. But how are we going to do this season? Christian Eriksen is gone. Christian Eriksen was a great creative player for Brentford, but he wasn't the only player. The reason why we lost, you know, at Everton, in the Cup and other places, because David Raya, our goalkeeper, was out, and Christian Ayer was out, and a load of other players were out. And then back in the side, actually, with Christian Eriksen, brought us back to, I thought, where we were before, and probably even a little bit better. We've brought some new players in. We've brought in Hickey. You know, we've brought in, who else have we brought? We've brought Yarmolenko inside. We've brought, you know, Keane, Lewis Potter as well from Hull. You know, we've brought Ben Mee, which we very much need in defence, because Ethan Pinnock's out for a few months. So we've actually put very well in the transfer window. We're very happy with how we've gone. Played Real Betis in a friendly. What do friendlies mean? They mean nothing. But we looked all right, actually, in that game as well. And also, Brian Mbumo looks like he's on fire. Ivan Toney looks like he's doing what he's doing as well. Christian Norgard is just an absolute don in the middle of midfield. So I'm quite confident. So I've predicted that we're going to finish sort of mid-table again, which a lot of people might be laughing at that. But it doesn't matter, because I'm a Brentford fan, and if we don't do very well, then we just don't do well, because we're just used to not doing that anyway. But listen, we're having a great season. Like I said to you, I'm looking forward to this new season coming up. I'll be coming back next week for the Man United game. Like I say, let's see how that goes. Everton, very much good luck to your season as well. I'll look out to see how you're getting on. I'll see you up at Everton when I'm up there as well. And if you come down to New Griffin Park, come down to the Globe, and you can have a drink with us at any time, because you're welcome to have a drink with us. Have a good season.
Hi, I'm Eddie Packham from the Albion Roar Radio Show here in sunny Brighton. You've asked me for my opinions on Everton's prospects this season. To be honest, I haven't really given it an awful lot of thought. I've been too busy watching the Lionesses at the Euros. We're fortunate enough to have England play twice at the Amex during this tournament, and it was such a brilliant, brilliant experience. And hopefully they can go all the way in the final today. As for Everton, tough season for you lot last year. Obviously losing Richarlison was a massive blow for you, but your recruitment looks okay. You know, Frank Lampard's got a plan. He'll have had time to get his message across to the players that are there, and obviously there's a lot of time left in the window for that to improve. So yeah, I think Everton, it was a blot on the copybook last year. I think that it will get better for you lot this year. Hopefully you'll still finish below us. As for the Albion, losing Yves Bissouma was always going to happen. We knew it was going to happen at some point. We were a little bit surprised to see him go to Spurs, where Richarlison has also gone. I mean, Spurs appear to be winning the transfer window a little bit at the moment, don't they? But you know, it was a massive player for us. But the way it works with Brighton, we have succession planning, and in Moises Caicedo we have a ready-made replacement. And in fact, actually Moises could go on to be bigger and better than Yves as well. So we're very, very excited about him. Obviously, lots of talk about Marc Cucurella at the moment. Manchester City are keen on signing him. They've clearly unsettled him. We're a little bit upset about the fact that it's all being carried out in public, but unfortunately when Fabrizio Romano gets involved, it's kind of, that's the way it's going to go. But City have put in an offer. It's like going into your local supermarket and saying, I'm going to buy this £10 steak and I'm going to offer you £2.50 for it. So, you know, we've got a price. If Man City offer the price, then he goes with our blessing. He's got another 4 years left on his contract. Obviously, we want him to stay. I think he'll be happy to stay if it doesn't quite work out. But obviously, he's ambitious. He wants to get back into the Spain team. And he's got a very good chance of doing that if he does go. But it is a bit of a worry. Best ever season for us in the top flight last season. Hopefully, we can continue that. We're looking to be better in front of goal. We're already good in defence, so yeah, higher than 9th would be a dream, but let's hope we can do better than that, and maybe you can get into Europe. Anyway, good luck for the season, Toffees, and we'll see you when we play you soon. All right, thanks, bye.
Yes, guys, big up all the Everton fans watching. Big up the Toffee Blues as well for asking me to come on and talk about my thoughts for Everton for the upcoming season. And there's a lot to break down when it comes to Everton because, like, you guys will admit, the club is a mess from top to not so much bottom now because now you guys got rid of Rafa Benitez, and big up you guys for doing that as well from a Chelsea fan. But for you guys, like, I don't think you guys will be in a relegation battle. I think you guys might be in the mix, but I don't think you'll be there towards the end of the season. I do still have a lot of faith in Frank Lampard, and it's not just me being biased as a Chelsea fan. I do think he is a very good up-and-coming manager with a few flaws to his game, but like it comes with being a manager trying to gain experience. And I do think he's going to have some howlers here and there, but I do also believe he's the man to take Everton back to where they aspire to be. I just don't know if it's going to happen this season. I feel like for this season, it's more about consolidating Everton as a position around mid-table, around the 10th to 15th position, I think would be good for you guys. But there's a lot of rebuilding that needs to be done within the squad. Lampard has to bring in his own transfers as well. You guys have lost Richarlison as well too. So there's a lot to build back up on. And then you got to deal with all the problems with the backroom staff as well. So, like, I think there's a lot for Everton to deal with. That's why I don't think there's going to be too much in terms of progress for this season. But I think from an Everton fan's perspective, I think all you guys just want to see is a strong season where you can see a plan from Frank Lampard. You can see a progression from a lot of members of the squad because the team did look like a mess when Benitez left. And Lampard also had to spend a good amount of his time rebuilding the confidence of that squad too. So I think now it's a fresh season, it's a fresh campaign. There's a good reason to look at it from a fresh perspective, but I don't think Everton go down. I could see them around the 10th to 15th position, but I can't really give you a number because around that position, it's really just all depends on form. You could finish anywhere around that mark, and you could go up or down depending on 2 or 3 match days. But I could see a good season for Everton. Us being Chelsea, I'm sure we're going to give you 3 points somewhere along the line. We hate going to Goodison Park, and you lot kind of like going down to the bridge as well. So yeah, I think you guys will do well for the season. You'll do a lot better than you did last season. And yeah, hopefully Frank Lampard succeeds. And also, please take Barkley and Batshuayi. I don't even care what the fee is. Please just take them. But yeah, big up everyone for watching anyway. And those are my thoughts for the season.
What's going on, guys? It's D from Back of the Nest, Crystal Palace fan channel, giving my preview ahead of the new season for Everton. From a neutral perspective, what do I think about Everton going into the new season? First of all, forget about the new season. I think Everton Football Club, I should quickly mention, as a neutral, I don't think they have an identity. I don't know what direction they're heading in. That's due to the owners spending money on players and managers, changing managers here and there, players not suiting the system. It's just a bit confusing right now in terms of what Everton are trying to be as a football club, let alone where they're trying to finish next season. And in terms of pre-season, what I've seen from results, I haven't seen Everton play once. I'm not going to lie and sit here that I have. There are still question marks. There's been question marks last season for me, personally, for Frank Lampard. I don't know if he's as good as a manager as people. I don't think people will make him out to be a good manager, to be fair, as he's got the jobs from Derby to Chelsea to Everton now. I think pretty big clubs that he's moved from without really proving himself. So he hasn't proven himself yet. And I think in pre-season, there's been some questionable results. I know it's pre-season, but when you have a season like you have last season and you've seen maybe similar patterns in pre-season, you'll naturally get worried. And when you're looking at your transfers, I've been quite happy with Tarkowski, and I'm not too sure about Dwight McNeil's fee, but I think he could still be a solid addition to the side. Being happy with them signings. But the question is, have you made enough signings? You got rid of Richarlison, which personally, I don't know who his replacement is because you haven't brought in anyone. Maybe it's in the squad already that I don't know about. But yeah, in terms of transfers, I feel like you could still do a bit more. And next season, I think it's going to be another season of struggle. I know you guys don't want to hear this, but in all honesty, I don't think you get relegated, but it will be a season which Everton realistically shouldn't have. Another season of around maybe like 14th to 16th. Pains along the way in the season, lots of ups and downs. And that's due to how the football club is being run as well as the manager. I personally would be surprised if Frank Lampard's last next season because I feel like he will get caught up. And now that he's got a full season, I don't think he will survive, in all honesty. So there's that. And then also lack of direction in terms of having players in the squad that can play a certain system. And there's maybe you guys disagree, but I think there's still deadwood in that football club that you guys need to get rid of. That hasn't happened. So I think it could be another season of struggle. But maybe if it's another season of struggle, maybe Frank Lampard improves the team in terms of how they want to play. And this following season you kick on, maybe it could help you guys. But I don't believe in Frank Lampard. I'm not going to sit here and say I do. But now, talking about the other side of things, I've talked about Everton. Now let's talk about Crystal Palace Football Club in terms of what I expect going into next season. Next season is going to be interesting. We saw last season, we was probably a fresh club. Crystal Palace hasn't been playing football like that. Patrick Vieira comes in, changes style. But we have had hurdles along the way. We had the AFCONs where we lost a few players at the start of the season. Despite playing good football, we had struggles with set pieces and here and there, little things that we improved on as the season went on. And when you look at our league table finish, around 12th, you'll say, well, you haven't improved. So why are you raving on about Patrick Vieira? Well, we have improved. But last-minute goals, set pieces that we improved on, FA Cup run, which we were focusing on naturally because it was in the semi-finals, did hurt us a bit. It did hurt us a bit. But if you look at our goal difference, it's going to sound a bit crazy, but when you look at our goal difference, you can tell that we're the anomaly in that league table last season. We shouldn't have finished 12th. We should have realistically finished in the top 10. 12th was like the harsher that it could be because some of the results were just crazy, like conceding last second, just silly errors here and there. I guess you could say that's part of football, but the goal difference itself made us look better than it should be in a league table, and we should have finished higher. But for Crystal Palace next season, I think we're going to finish in the top 10. I think based on what happened last season, we've improved on a squad in this pre-season. Cheick Doucouré, holding midfielder, Sam Johnson, goalkeeper, Chris Richards from Bayern Munich, young centre-back. We've improved on a squad that we had last season, and plus Patrick Vieira is going to work on the players this pre-season as well, improve on a few more things. So I think we'll naturally improve, and I think top 10 finish is not out of the questions. Of course, it's going to be hard due to some of the signings that teams are making. You're seeing Newcastle that is improving their team as well. So it's going to be a hard season, but I think we could finish in the top 10. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for having me on, guys, and hope you all stay safe.
Hi everyone at the Toffee Blues. I'm Dom from the Fulhamish podcast, looking at Everton and Fulham's season. I'm not too confident for Everton this season. I think they're going to struggle again like last season. I've looked at the transfer business so far at the moment, recording just sort of ahead of the first game of the season. You know, you signed Dwight McNeil and James Tarkowski from Burnley, but that's about it. Obviously, Ruben Vinagre in from Wolves, but I don't really think Everton's problems are solved with the loss of Richarlison. There hasn't been a replacement for his output when it comes to goals and assists. So I'm not too sure. I think you'll struggle again. I think with Lampard as manager, that's another reason why you're struggling. An inexperienced manager. You know, I don't think he lit up too many trees last season when he came to the club. Yes, he did terrible. Obviously, yes, Benitez did terrible at the start of the season, but I still don't think Lampard really did much last season. He sort of stayed up by default. The other teams being quite poor, but yeah, I think it's still going to be another season of struggle for Everton. So I predict you to probably be in another relegation battle alongside Fulham. Talking about Fulham, we've done some transfer business, bringing the likes of João Palhinha from Sporting Lisbon, Kevin Mbabu from Wolfsburg. Looks like Arsenal's goalkeeper Leno's going to be coming over, which is a very big signing for us. But we still haven't signed a centre-back yet, which is very worrying. You know, as much as Tim Ream played 46 games for us last season, he's not good enough for the Premier League. We've seen that last 2 times. You know, we haven't really used automatic promotion to our advantage this season. We haven't really gone out and signed the players we need to in pre-season. We're still looking at signing centre-backs such as Issa Diop. So I still think this is Fulham's best chance of staying up he's had in recent years. You know, previous 2 times playoffs, and even the last time because of COVID, it was such a short turnaround. So I think this is our best chance, especially with our best manager. I think Marcus Silva is definitely a better manager than Slaviša Jokanovic and Scott Parker probably put together. So I think Fulham can stay up this season. Whether we will remains to be seen for the transfer business we do for the rest of the season. I think this season will also be the year that Mitrovic finally shuts all his haters up. You know, he's Serbia's all-time top goal scorer. You know, he stopped Portugal briefly qualifying for the World Cup with that last-minute goal. And I think, you know, if he gets service, he needs to see from the likes of Harry Wilson, although he's picked up an injury. Andreas Pereira, another signing we made from Manchester United. You know, players in the central midfield like Tom Kearney, Jalpalini, Harrison. We can give him the service he needs. I think he can easily get into double figures of goals this season, like he did in 18-19, where he started the season really well and sort of fell off towards the end. But if I'm going to predict Fulham's finish the season, just be optimistic, I'm going to say 17th and we stay up by the skin of our teeth. Hopefully it's not going into the last day because we've got a really tough trip to Old Trafford. But I've been Don Betts from the Fulhamish podcast, looking ahead to the new season.
What's a crack? Here, it's Big Scott from All Leeds TV. Thank you for having me on your channel. So I've been asked just to do a wee video on where I think Everton, how they're going to do this season, and how I think Leeds are going to do. Well, for a start, my feelings towards Everton going into this season are much different than they've been any other season, mainly for reasons that they don't have enough fans in Northern Ireland. Yeah, the shop was opened and it's warranted. I am always ranting about this, but it's basically affected the Leeds shop that it was adjoined to, which was basically paying for the losses from the Everton side, and now we've no shop, essentially. That's what happened. But I've no ill feelings towards Everton. For me, it's a working class fans club. And again, it's a club I've never had any ill feelings towards until Frank Lampard came. Then I just thought what he is doing. Last season, Everton, to my recollection, weren't in a relegation battle until Frank Lampard came. And Frank Lampard essentially got them into a relegation battle and then dragged them out of it. With various transfer players and options and things still on the horizon. You know, players could come, players could go. There's still a couple of weeks left of this transfer window. I don't know if Everton will do enough to keep them away from another relegation battle this season. And I do think Everton are going to be down in amongst it. I don't know whether they'll get relegated. However, if they do get the points deduction for breaching FFP, which they should do, it happens to any other club. There should be no exceptions made just because Frank Lampard is at the wheel. Let him be the fall guy and then bring someone else in and we can be a real hero for Everton. Frank Lampard is not going to be that hero for Everton or any club. So yeah, for me, I think Everton will stay up, but they are going to be in and amongst it come the end of the season. If they do get the points deduction for breaching the FFP, which it's the law, it should happen, I think they'll go down. If, again, that's if they get deducted points. As for Leeds, well, I think we are going to have another tough season. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as bad as it was last year, and certainly not going to be shipping in the amount of goals that we were receiving last year. And realistically, anywhere 16th and above is an improvement. So I'd be happy with 16th. That's the truth. That is an improvement, and you cannot disagree otherwise. Hell, I would take 17th with a better goal difference, and that's an improvement. We've lost two of our biggest names. We've brought in a couple of great players that I think are going to do an even better job, particularly Tyler Adams and Sinisterra, who are going to get compared directly to Phillips and Rafinha. With Brendan Aronson, who is finally the replacement for Samu Saiz that we never got, just Pablo Hernandez picked up the slack. We've got a fantastic right back with Rasmus Christensen. You know, there's a couple of pieces of the puzzle missing at the moment. As of right now, I would probably say we're going to finish somewhere between 12th and 16th, and I'd be happy with that there.
Alright there, Jamie here, Leicester Fan TV. How the devil are you? I hope you're good, I hope you're well. I've been asked by the Toffee Blues to give a preview of Everton's season from a Leicester point of view. I don't think you're going to have such a bad season as you did last year where you escaped relegation. I think you'll do better than that this year. It's going to be a bit of a rebuild for you, I think, under Frankie Lampard, which I think is a quality manager and he used to be a quality player. You've made a couple of decent signings, Dwight McNeil, James Tarkowski, I hope I've pronounced that right. They were both on Leicester's radars for the last 2 or 3 transfer windows, possibly even longer. But we decided not to bother with them, I don't know why. And they've gone to you guys, so I hope they bed in well and do well for you. Also, I think you will finish mid-table, probably 10th to 12th, something like that. Like I say, bit of a rebuild for you next year after just narrowly escaping relegation. But yeah, so somewhere between 10 and 12th, I think. As for Leicester, yeah, well, where do we start? It's a bit of a brain teaser, that is, for us Leicester fans at the minute. Kasper Schmeichel has just gone to Nice for £1 million, but it does free up 6.4 million in wages. So that gives us an opportunity to splash the cash somewhere along the line, especially on wages, because we've got no money. We've got no money. We've got to buy before. Sorry, we've got to sell before we buy. There's rumours of Maddison going. There's rumours of Vardy going. There's rumours of Fofana going, Chelsea, Newcastle, Barnes also is wanted by Newcastle as well, but we'll have to wait and see. It's a bit of a up the creek without a paddle moment at Leicester. We're not sure which way we're going to go. We've not really built on the FA Cup win. We struggled last year, even though we finished 8th. I honestly think Leicester will finish about the same as you guys, maybe a bit lower. I think you might finish slightly above us, but we'll have to wait and see. So I'm going for anywhere between 10th and 15th at the minute. Can't really be positive as a Leicester fan. There's not a lot of positivity. There's nothing to get up and there's nothing to give us that boost we need. But there we go. I think Everton will finish 10th, 11th, 12th. Leicester will finish in that same range as well, about 10th to 15th. Maybe you guys just above us. But cheers for listening. Thank you, Toffee Blues. Come on, Leicester.
Hi guys, yeah, it's Lewis here from City Extras. Give my opinion on Everton's season and what I expect from them, and a bit about City as well. So I'll start off with Everton. I don't even know what to expect from Everton this season, and it's just proper roller coaster in it with Everton. I don't know how you guys stay sane, man, watching that football club, man. Driving me up the wall, man. It's just like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. You know, there's been a lot of money spent there over the years. I'm looking at the transfers this season on the screen here, and don't look like you spent any money. You've got Tarkowski, and I think he's a good player, and Dwight McNeil in from Burnley. I'm not sure how much you got him for. I don't really rate him that much, Dwight McNeil, but Tarkowski is a class signing. I do like him, brilliant defender. No money spent this season. I just don't know. Lampard's a weird one for me. You know, when Lampard went in there last season, I didn't think it was the right time for him. You know what I mean? Because obviously relegation battle in the end, obviously kept them up, which is, I guess, a win. But I've just been thinking about it, you know, over these last few weeks, and just thinking, I just don't think he's got the right manager for Everton at this period of time. I think Everton need to be, you know, Everton need to stabilise. That's what I think. Everton need to stabilise. Obviously, they've gone through this massive transition, obviously, with the owner changing a few years ago or whatever. You almost got relegated last season, and I just think, is Lampard the right man for that job? And I just don't think he is. I like Lampard. I think he's going to be a good manager, and I think he did all right at Chelsea, and I think it was sort of unfair the way it ended. But I just think that Everton right now, I just think they need a manager. And I know Everton fans will be like, don't really want to hear this, but I just think you need to just aim to become that mid-table team again, and then push on from there. You know what I mean? I just don't think Lampard I just don't think he's the right man for the job at this moment in time. I don't know who you'd get in. I don't know who you'd get in, but if I was like if I was the owner of Everton right now, or like the director of football, whatever, I think I'd be looking to get a manager in to stabilise the club 100%, get them away from that relegation zone, which Lampard might do. I don't know, but I just think there's also a chance that he won't do that. And then after a few seasons, and I know you might not want to hear this, but after a few seasons when you're just securing that top 10 position, then bring someone in like a Lampard who can then really try and push you up the league. But yeah, look, time will tell whether that's correct or not. And I hope Lampard does well. Like I say, I like Lampard. I think he's a top bloke. But I just don't think he's the right manager for Everton at this time. But anyway, time will tell on that, and it'd be nice to see if Everton could make a few more signings. City-wise, yeah, looking good. Issue at left back, however, at the time of recording this, it does look like we might be getting one. I don't know who it's going to be at this moment in time, but it does look like we're in the market for someone. Obviously, we've got Haaland, Alvarez, Phillips, all brilliant signings. I did think that we should have signed a right winger who can play the ball in the box with the right foot. One of the problems we have right now is we've got Mahrez, who's on the right, who's a fantastic player, don't get me wrong, and Cole Palmer coming through our academy system, who's, again, a great player, but they're both right-sided, left-footed players, and you know what that means, it's just cut in season. So I would like to have seen someone to replace Sterling on that right-hand side. Now, Alvarez, who is a striker, might be able to do that role. Again, time will tell whether that is actually a thing or not, but yeah, look, it's good. Obviously optimistic going into the season. Liverpool are obviously always going to be strong, but yeah, it's obviously just going to be another relentless season, I think. And you know, you drop points in any game, and you feel that that's the league over. So yeah, just more of the same from City in the next few months. We always have our best period near the winter break. Now, obviously, the World Cup is this season, so hopefully sort of January, February time, that's a period usually where City just go bang, 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 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. We usually do get off to a slow start. We've got West Ham on the opening day of the season. Don't be surprised to see City drop points there. We have struggled there over the years, and we are typically a slow starting team. So look, no issues. I think City will do all right. I think Everton will be safe, but yeah, I think that Lampard might be a risk for this season. Time will tell. Good luck anyway. And yeah, for you guys, I guess you want some signings, man. No money spent according to Transfermarkt. I'm just looking at there, yeah, 0 cash spent for Everton this summer, which is bizarre given where you found yourself last season. Yeah, anyway, all the best, lads.
J-Mott here, Stretford Paddock, Manchester United channel. How do I think United, or sorry, I'll start with Everton, shall we? How do I think Everton are going to do this season? I'm not so sure. I mean, Everton obviously had a disappointing season last season. I think, is it Dwight McNeil you've just bought, or you're about to buy for 20 million quid? I mean, it's an interesting one, that, I'm not going to lie. Is it 1 assist in 38 games, just been relegated? But listen, I'm not going to judge on transfers because United's record hasn't exactly been sterling, and who knows, he might have just rise to the occasion. I think there's a few questions in there around Frank Lampard, to say the least. I think it might be a struggle for Everton again this season. I just feel that other teams are strengthening. Everton probably not strengthening as much as you need to. I think there's still questions around your manager. So I think you might end up... I don't think you're going to be in a relegation fight, but I think it might be sort of just below mid-table, which isn't great for a club the size of Everton. But I think that's just where you're at the minute, and I think it's going to be a slow process in getting sort of back towards the right end of the table. Manchester United are in a similar position in terms of transition. Obviously, we've got a new manager coming in. We've got some new signings. We've lost a lot of players. I think this season is going to be not great for us. I think we're going to have to stomach seeing either Liverpool or City win the league. But I think United can get into that top 4. I think with Erik ten Hag, we've got a very good manager. I think we've already seen pre-season some of the sort of changes he's made, the style of football he's trying to play. I still feel we're short of a midfielder, at least. Eriksen's a decent signing. Martinez as well, and Malacia looks like he's got something about him, but we need a midfielder, a decent midfielder. We've lost Pogba, we've lost Matic, we've also lost Cavani, Lingard and Mata as well. So we're probably weaker going into this season than we were last season, which isn't great, but we have got an up-and-coming manager, which gives you a bit of positivity. So I think United can get into that top 4, but it's going to be a difficult one. And I think both clubs, both Everton and Manchester United this season, may have to stomach seeing that mob lifting silverware, which isn't going to be easy.
Hello everyone, Sam Mulliner here from Newcastle Fans TV, looking ahead to the new Premier League season, which finally gets underway this weekend. First of all, looking at Everton, from the outside looking in, there's a lot of question marks a lot of questions to be asked, and we should get answers to them this season. Will Frank Lampard prove himself to be a capable Premier League manager? Will Dele Alli prove that he still wants to be not just a Premier League footballer, but a footballer at all? Your transfer business, I mean, it doesn't help that you've been rocked with another Dominic Calvert-Lewin injury. Who's going to start up front for you now? Is it Rondon, which you guys obviously haven't seen the best of, like we did a few years back at Newcastle, just for that one season? Tarkowski, Dwight McNeil from Burnley. They're decent signings. They're decent signings. Tarkowski, I think, is an improvement on Michael Keane. I don't know what you guys feel, but it's all about your forward line, isn't it? Can you get a replacement striker in? Losing Richarlison's a huge, huge blow. It would be for most teams in the Premier League. And then, as I say, the injury to Calvert-Lewin doesn't help. We were linked with him earlier in the summer, and that's put pay to that. I suppose that's one good thing, that you're not going to lose him now he's injured for the rest of the transfer window. Is there a lot of money to spend? You're still kind of paying the price for overpaying on certain players a few years ago, and it's tough. It's tough. That this transfer market's really tough, as Newcastle themselves are finding out. But I think Everton is still on for a decent season. They'll be in the hunt for the top 10. There's still the foundations of a good squad there. So they'll be in the hunt for a top 10 finish, I feel. With Newcastle, this is our first full season after Mike Ashley's departure last October. We've had 2 decent windows. Obviously, we stayed up when we were in the world of trouble. We stayed up at a canter in the end. And we've added some real quality. Earlier on last season, Trippier, Bruno, are world-class players. They are. And Sven Botman, bringing him in, one of the world's highest rated young centre-backs. I know you can't go a lot on pre-season friendly form, but from what we saw of him in pre-season, he looks an absolute Rolls Royce of a centre-back. We ourselves need to add a striker to the ranks and a winger, but if Callum Wilson can stay fit, he should get 15 goals this season, no problem at all. And look, we're in the hunt again for a top 10 finish. We don't expect the world at Newcastle. We don't expect the earth. We are fully prepared to be patient. We're not going for Champions League this season, but top 10 finish, top 8, and a cup run will do us just nicely.
What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door with Door on Tour channel. I'm on Toffee Blues channel to give my verdict on how Everton will do this season, and as well my club, Nottingham Forest. Let me start with Everton. Me personally, I think you'll struggle. I know Frank Lampard, ex-Derby manager, I don't rate him. You've got good players. You've got Dele Alli, who's a good player. You've just brought in Dwight O'Neill, James Tarkowski from Burnley, and me personally, I think it should be like your top 10 team. But right now, at this moment, I just don't think Lampard is the man that can step you up. But you know, Premier League, anything can happen. But me personally, I just don't think you'll do great. And I think you'll finish mid-table. You won't go down. That's 100%. You won't go down. Like, it's a big club, and like I said, you've got some good players, but I still don't think Frank Lampard is the man that can give you a next step in the career. But me personally, I don't think you can. Nottingham Forest, it's been 23 years that we've been in the Premier League. We brought in 12 players. As you know, we brought in Jesse Lingard. We brought in ex-Liverpool player Nico Williams. Dean Henderson as well from Manchester United on loan. It's going to be a tough season for Forest. Like I said, we brought in some more players, but I don't think we'll go down. Mid-table, like Everton, I think we'll finish mid-table. We've got a good side. We've got a good academy players as well in Joe Worrell, Ryan Yates, and our starlet Brendan Johnson. But I think we'll finish mid-table. And Steve Cooper as well, what a manager. As you know, everyone knows the story what happened last season, but we're geared up, and as a Forest fan, I'm geared up as well. But hopefully, we can do well, and hopefully we've got you a lot soon. So I can't wait, and I'm excited. And like I said, can't wait for the Premier League. And like I said, hopefully Forest and Everton do well next season. Up the Reds.
Alright, here we are at the mighty St Mary's Stadium to give our pre-season thoughts on Everton Football Club on behalf of the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. Our opinions on Everton. I have to say, I think you boys have dodged a bit of a bullet with the FIFA Fair Play. I know it's still going on, but I kind of feel you got away with one last season. But that said, Man City have been getting away with it for years, so it's kind of a bit of a... but there we go. Anyway, I think going into next season, I think it's going to be a similar picture for you. I think you're going to be struggling, certainly unless you bring in someone to replace Richarlison. Will Calvert-Lewin be back to his original strength? We shall see. But I for one, don't necessarily rate Frank Lampard as a manager. That's probably going to be an unpopular opinion with the fan base of this channel, but I just think it'll be a pretty similar picture to last season, so which will keep it interesting down in the bottom half of the table. Thoughts, Jack?
To be fair, the way that every other pundit talks about Southampton this season, summer, is kind of how I feel about Everton.
Yeah.
I just don't think the recruitment's been that great so far in the summer, and you're right, I don't rate Frank really at all. It's the way Frank kind of seems to palm off a lot of excuses onto players rather than take it onto himself of trying to prove anything. And I don't ever see improvement from him as a manager. He feels like the same manager that was at Derby, and I didn't rate that Frank Lampard either. But you know, it's still Everton. There are some that I know that the term "too big to go down" is, you know, shouldn't be a thing, but you are. So you won't. I think it'll be another bad season, but I don't think it'll be that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you chuck loads of money at last time, and it got you into a lot of trouble. Anyway, so that's
like Gordon though. Gordon's a good player.
Yeah, let's hope you. Hoping for you sake, you keep hold of him. What are our thoughts on Southampton's season for the Southampton's chances for the season ahead? We're going on a title charge. No, it's going to be a similar picture. I think if we're honest. I mean, I think there's always going to be aspirations of pushing into the top half of the table, but we got to be realistic with where we are. We've signed a whole load of new players. I mean, spent close to 50-60 million on a lot of new young talent. So there's a lot of unknowns in there, but we haven't sold anyone. So a few people are left after their contracts, but no one has departed to make way for that 50-60 million worth of players. And we are told that we're getting another 6'2" striker marquee signing to come in on top of everything that we've done. So there's every reason to be hopeful, but yeah, I'm saying pushing for the top half of the table, but that's as far as I'm going to stretch it. Jack?
Yeah, again, we are realistic Southampton fans, and in my mind, anywhere between 12th and 15th is kind of where I see us going. Never known what something special might happen, but yeah, we bought. This is our biggest spend in the transfer window ever. No players going out yet, apart from the ones that have ended the contract. And from the sounds of it, what are we on 6 signings so far? I've heard, I've heard Athletic reporting that we might get 10 in. Like, that's a whole new squad, and to do that without losing any players means you're only bettering what you had last season. So, a slight improvement. All I really want to do this season is finish above Brighton and Bournemouth. It sounds simple, but that's what I want.
We are the best team on the South Coast. Right, there we go. Well, thanks for having us on the show, and see you next season. See ya.
How are you doing, guys, at the Toffee Blues? Thank you for inviting me on. I'm here in Israel. I'm actually not meant to be here, but our flight got cancelled, so I'm stuck here, but I'm doing this video for you on the beach. Now, I've been asked to talk about my thoughts of Everton going into the new season, and I have to say I am a bit worried for Everton. They've made some astute signings. I think Tarkowski is a very good defender, although I'm sceptical whether he'll help your defence massively, although I do believe they played together at Burnley with him and Michael Keane, so they could strike up a good partnership. But I think your problems defensively, I don't necessarily think are personnel. I think a lot of it is structural, and I'm worried about Frank Lampard and his job security going into the new season. He did keep you up last season, although I don't think you even at the back end, I know you had big wins, but I didn't think you played particularly well. You did rally and get together, and you were fighting tooth and nail for results, and that's what you need to do when you're down at the bottom. But in terms of quality performances, I was still sceptical. Obviously, losing Richarlison is massive. I do like the signing of Dwight McNeil. I think he's a good player. I did think I think Dwight McNeil will do quite well at Everton. Will you replace what Richarlison can give you? I'm sceptical of that as well. Calvert-Lewin, a lot is going to just be riding on whether you can keep him fit for a majority of the season, because we saw when he was injured, you were really lacking. So I think, I think that for me, Everton are going to be struggling right now, albeit it can change very quickly with a few signings. Cornet, I think, would fit in well at Everton, and maybe if you get a striker to either replace Richarlison or compete with Calvert-Lewin, that changes a lot of things. But I wouldn't be surprised if Frank Lampard is going to be one of the favourites to be the first manager sacked at this current rate. There's a lot of work to be done at Everton. I don't think the business you've done so far is going to take you up a level. I still think the level of performances you were giving last season are going to be similar as of now. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Lampard really did get everyone singing from the same hymn sheet, and maybe performances will improve. Right now, if I'm going in predictions as of now, transfers now, I think you're set for another relegation battle. But that could all change with a few good additions to the squad. Wishing you all the best. Sorry if I come across as negative, just what I feel at the moment when I was looking at Everton. But maybe Lampard and co can prove me wrong. Good luck for the season, lads. Come on, you Spurs.
Dan Lawless here, back for Toffee Blues, and giving my predictions for West Ham and Everton season. And last season, I didn't predict good things under Rafa Benitez, and I don't predict good things under Frank Lampard. I think it's going to be a very tough season for Everton this year. Finances seem to be a big issue at the club. The signings, I don't think are filling a lot of people with enthusiasm. Dwight McNeil's, Ross Barkley, which seems to be like it's going to be completed. Tarkowski, I do think, is a good player. Whether he fits in with Frank Lampard's system remains to be seen. I think he plays quite different football to what they play at Burnley. Everton have lost their best player in Richarlison, absolutely pulled them through some games last season, and a really big part of keeping you up. I know a lot of the fans are behind Lampard. I really don't have a lot of faith in him being the manager. I think if Everton was stable, I think then you could probably maybe look at a Lampard coming in, giving him some money. I do think you probably will just about stay up, depending on what other teams do. So I think a 17th to 16th place finish this season for Everton, which is not what you want to hear. But let's see, still time to go in the transfer window. West Ham, on the other hand, I've been very happy with some of the business we've been doing this summer. What we're planning to do, the players that we've been linked with. Things are looking good. We've just signed this man, Skamaka, just what we've needed. We haven't replaced Aller in 18 months. It's been over 1,000 days since we actually signed a striker. And Antonio desperately needs competition. He desperately needs someone to take minutes off him because he played so much football last season. Last season, we done really well with such a thin squad. We got to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. We got to the semi-finals of the Europa League and sustained a top 4 challenge, which turned late in the last couple of months turned into a top 6 challenge, just missing out on top 6 by 2 points. Better players, more squad depth. If you pushed me, I would say 7th place finish and going all the way in the Conference League, at least the final.
Hi guys, it's Dave here from Talking Wolves, obviously a Wolves fan. Just giving my quick thoughts on Everton ahead of the 22-23 season. Obviously it was a difficult campaign for you guys last year, and I'm pretty sure that you guys will have a more comfortable year coming up. Looking at the transfers, I think at the moment I don't think you've directly replaced Richarlison, who I think is going to be a big loss, as you guys all know. So I think a proper striker needs to come in sooner rather than later. Dwight McNeil is a player that I like. Obviously, he had a difficult time at Burnley. Obviously, you've brought in James Tarkowski as well, who's a solid defender. Ruben Vinagre is an interesting one. Obviously, a player that was with us for a number of years. I'm intrigued to see how he gets on because he's a talented footballer, but probably just didn't show enough for us at the Premier League level. So I'm not expecting him to get regular game time for you guys, but an interesting option to have, and I will be keeping a close eye on to see how he gets on. But Everton as a whole, I think will do a lot better than last year. I think Frank Lampard will have it under control a little bit more. I don't think he's strong enough to be sort of pushing sort of top half, pushing for Europe right now, but I think it'll definitely be in and around a mid-table finish. And that's probably where I'm expecting Wolves to be as well. I think we're too strong to be down there messing about down towards the bottom of the table, but we haven't got enough depth and quality to be pushing for European football once again this year. So I think Wolves and Everton are going to have probably similar seasons. And yeah, we'll have to see how we both get on. But I've seen some of the rumours, Everton looking at a couple of more players. I think with some of the players that have been linked, Frank Lampard is going to have a really strong squad. And overall, a lot more balanced, let's say, than what you had last year as well. But yeah, all the best for the 22-23 season, apart from the 2 games when you play Wolves. But yeah, I'll catch you guys very, very soon.